day of October, the year 2024, afternoon sitting. This live broadcast is streaming from the Parliament buildings in Nairobi, a broadcast that is brought to you by the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in partnership with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. Good afternoon. A warm welcome to you. My name is Kamche Menza. In the order of business for the members of the National Assembly this afternoon, or in this afternoon sitting, pursuant to the House Standing Order or provisions of Standing Order 44 to C, with regards to statements, 3 members will be requesting for statements from various relevant committees. The Honorable Member for Mwatate, Honorable Peter Mbogo, will be requesting for statement from the Administration and Internal Security on the rise of insecurity in Taita Taveta. The Honorable Member for Butere, Honorable Tindi Mwale, will also be requesting for a statement from the Administration and Internal Security Committee with regards to fight against drug trafficking in the country. And the Honorable for Kinango, Honorable Gonzi Rai, will be seeking a statement from the Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations Committee with regards to safety of a Kenyan in Saudi Arabia. This is pursuant to the provisions of standing orders that the members will be requesting for statements on those concerns emanating from their areas or constituencies where they represent. Also this afternoon, a sitting that is usually set aside or allocated for responses to questions by Cabinet Secretaries. The Honorable Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, Honorable Aden Duale, is expected to appear before the floor of the House this afternoon to respond to questions of various questions by 6 members. The member for Alego Usonga, Honorable Samuel Atandi, will be seeking to get an explanation from the Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry on why the National Environment Management Authority, commonly referred to as NEMA, issued a license for the construction of residential properties along Othaya Road, Kileleshwa, despite the potential environmental impact caused by the developer. Also, why NEMA permitted the construction of the said building to proceed without public participation, and also explain why the developer has been able to continue constructing the said illegal structures even after repeated requests and petitions from concerned residents. The member for Chepalungu, also Honorable Victor Koech, will be asking the Cabinet Secretary to confirm the presence of Lalea Company Limited and Naraitoi Company Limited that are engaging in large-scale irrigation-based farming along Amalo River in Chepalungu constituencies. Also confirm the allegations made by the residents of surrounding villages, including Chemegwa, Kinyanga, Kobolwo, Kosia, Kamosiro, Nogirwet, and Kamungil area, that the said companies are engaging in cloud seeding activities, resulting in alterations to the local rainfall patterns, with some villages experiencing a complete lack of rain throughout the year, despite other parts of the constituency receiving rainfall. I'm sure at this point we will be able to understand the activities of cloud seeding once the Cabinet Secretary explains in length or rather when he responds in length to this particular question that will be asked by the Honorable Member for Chepalungu. Also, the Honorable Member Victor Koech will be seeking the Cabinet Secretary to study the steps the Ministry intends to take to address the concerns raised by the affected residents. The Member for Westlands, Honorable Timothy Wanyonyi, will also be seeking some explanations from the Cabinet Secretary on the reasons behind the depletion of rivers. This includes the number of permanent rivers that have dried up in each county over the past 4 years, and the plans by the ministry to address and mitigate the situation. Also enumerate the entities and groups that discharge their effluent in rivers, along with the number of private dams constructed in the last 2 years, and the policy statement outlining the penalties imposed on such entities for negative environmental actions. The member for Nakuru County, Honorable Liza Chelule, also will be seeking some elaboration from the Cabinet Secretary on the initiatives undertaken by the ministry to preserve wetlands and catchment areas within the country and further state the effectiveness of such institutions. That is the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Dr. Moses Wetangula, making his way into the chamber already inside the chambers. Of course, he will be giving his communication with regards to the activities of Parliament going forward. Allow me to hand you over to this live broadcast brought to you by PBU in partnership with KBC. Good afternoon.
Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, ambaye kwa hekima na wema wako umetoa nyadhifa za viongozi na mabunge kwa ustawi wa jamii na utawala wa haki wa wanadamu. Twakusihi utazame kwa neema nyingi sisi watumishi wako ambao wameridhika kutuita ili tutekeleze shughuli muhimu za jamhuri yetu. Twakuomba uteremshie baraka zako sisi tuliokutanika hapa, na utujalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote tutakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili utukufu na sifa zako ziendelezwe, na ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao wamesikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Sergeant, ring the quorum bell. Huyo Mlemba. Mwalimu.
The prayer has been said and the chair has been taken, but the House lacks the requisite quorum. This is unlike the Tuesday afternoon sitting, where after the prayer had been said and the chair taken, the House had attained its quorum, but it's a bit different on this afternoon sitting. This afternoon, remember, the business that will be transacted is the cabinet secretaries responding to various questions that were forwarded to him by Parliament on concerns that were raised by various members. These are matters that relate to either county, inter-county, national, regional, or even international concerns that the cabinet secretaries appear before Parliament to respond to those concerns. And this afternoon, we expect the cabinet secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, that is the Sergeant at Arms, indicating that the quorum has been achieved, as is the tradition. So allow me to hand you over to the live broadcast. Good afternoon.
Members, we now have quorum to transact business. Clerk.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages.
I have a communication.
Oh, we have a communication.
Yes. Thank you. Honorable members, I have a short communication on the public participation program on the special motion for the removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Honorable members, further to the communication issued yesterday on consideration of the special motion for the removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Gachagua as the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, and today's briefing on the public participation program relating to the consideration of the special motion, I wish to guide further in the matter. As members are aware, the advertisements published today inviting submission of views and notifying the public of hearings on the special motion list all 290 constituencies and indicate that the exercise is to be coordinated from 47 count venues or collection centers across the country. Arising from the members' briefing held earlier today, I wish to clarify that the public participation program additionally contemplates the collection of views at the constituency level. In this regard, I confirm that the officers of the clerk shall be present to assist the collection and compilation of views from onward transmission to the office of the clerk through the respective collection compilation centers specified in the public advertisements. The House is accordingly guided. Thank you.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader. Bukosi, you want to stand in for them?
Yes, Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the Majority Leader, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024, afternoon sitting. 1, the 2024 Annual Public Debt Management Report from the National Treasury and Economic Planning, and 2, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IBC, Annual Report for the period ended 30th June 2024. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, Honorable Murugara, your report is on my desk.
It's on my desk, yeah.
I'm going through it and have some issues with it. I need to discuss with you.
I've been informed. I was informed, Your Honor, I was informed. I have to come and see you. We have a discussion.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable members, there is a request for statement by Peter Mbogo, MP Mwatate. Is he in the house? Peter Mbogo. Honorable Tindi Mwale, you may proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the fight against drug trafficking in the country. Honorable Speaker, over the years, Kenya has been identified as a transit country for heroin trafficking, trafficked from Afghanistan and the Arabian Gulf to Europe and Americas and other parts of Africa. Presently, there is a huge domestic heroin and cocaine abuse problem, particularly in the coastal region. Despite concerted effort by the government, there have been reports of state and public officials facilitating the inland movement of heroin and other drugs, as well as the activities of certain organized crime groups. A notable axis exists in Kenya between heroin trafficking and other crimes, such as corruption, human smuggling, armed trafficking, and poaching. The country also remains a transshipment point for the global cocaine trade. Reports indicate that upon arrival in Kenya, cocaine is shipped onwards to Ethiopia, Tanzania, Somalia, both for consumption and onward trade. It is noted that Kenya's cocaine trafficking market is attributed to limited maritime enforcement capabilities and hampered drug interception, as well as involvement of law enforcement officers who have been identified as the primary organizers and facilitators of cocaine distribution and retail sale within the country. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security to appraise the House on the following. Roman 1, the number of users of hard drugs in the country registered by National Authority for the Campaign Against Drug Abuse, NACADA, with specific focus on heroin and cocaine. Roman 2, the reported involvement of the law enforcement officers, especially Kenya Police and the National Intelligence Service, in facilitating cocaine transit, distributing, and sale in the country. And 3, Roman 3, the status of the war against drug abuse, including an enumeration of rehabilitation programs for persons affected by drug abuse, majority of whom are the youth. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Tindi Mwale. Chairman, Administration and Internal Security, Tongoyo. Yes, Rindikiri, I am a member of the committee.
No, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to
say something to it.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, this issue of drug and substance abuse is increasing day by day, particularly among our youth and in schools. Honorable Mwale has brought it at the right time, and I think it's a serious problem, and this need to be fast-tracked. And I think we need more information from every region. I agree with the statement that there are some public officers who are conduits and the protectors of the drug traffickers. Mr. Speaker, if we have to save the generation of our youth, I think we need to have a deeper report, and I'm pleading with all the members in this House, including myself, that we avail information on what we know, not necessarily in one specific region. We all come up together and join hands, providing information that we collect from the constituencies so that this report is properly enhanced. I ask that the committee should not latch on this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Rwanda.
Asante Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, nampongeza mwanzo mheshimiwa kwa kuleta swala hili la mihadharati hapa bungeni. Kusema la kweli, hili swala linatuathiri sana. Na kabla sijaendelea kuchangia, nataka mheshimiwa uchukue tahadhari sana. Mimi mwenyewe hapa nilikuja nikataja majina ya kwangu, na ilikuwa mwanzo wa maisha yangu kubadilika. Bunge la 12 nilikasirika, ilikuwa imezidi, nikaja nikataja jina. Maisha yangu ilibadilika, ikabidi sasa nitembee na askari kila pahali. Na nikaongezewa na askari. Na nashukuru bunge hili walinisaidia sana. Hii shida iko na ilikuwa imeletwa mpaka kuzungumza, inakuwa ukizungumza wewe ndio unakuwa mbaya. Wale wanauza mihadharati si wabaya, wewe unayezungumza kama mbunge. Kuna siku mimi nilienda pahali kwa mkutano, nikazungumza, nilikaribishwa nikazungumza. Kuna mtu alikuja akanishika hivi, akaniambia usizungumze maneno hayo. Yaani ukizungumza umewaletea wao shida. Wamekuwa wale wanayouza wana power zaidi kushinda hata wewe mbunge unakatazwa hata usizungumze. Wakati experience yangu, wakati nikiomba kura, madrug dealer paka wa Lamu West wote walitoka wakaja Lamu East kunipinga nisipate, lakini Mwenyezi Mungu akawa na mimi na ndio nikarudi hapa. Hii tatizo kwangu Lamu East iko kubwa sana. Youth wetu ilikuwa percentage inaongezeka. Mwanzo ilikuwa ni nimesahau hizo numbers, lakini Red Cross wanazo. Vile inaongezeka ni maajabu. Watoto wameathirika, watoto ni vulnerable kwa sababu wako pale karibu na mpaka. Wale wakitumika vibaya itaanza kuleta hatari sana. Kwa hivyo jambo hili la mihadharati, mimi nataka pia kama ni waziri anakuja na mimi nije nichangie hapo. Sahihi, naomba permission kabisa niwe friend of that committee, niende pia. Kuna matatizo tunawajua paka majina tunawajua Speaker. Kama kwangu eneo bunge langu wote wanauza mihadharati. Ukichukua mtoto ukimwambia nipeleke nani anauza mihadharati, anaweza kuonesha ni huyo anauza mihadharati. Lakini ukitaja majina nitapata tena shida nyingine. Hiyo shida nimeipata paka naogopa sasa. Ni shida. Watoto utamuona ameumia, anatoka usaha, ukimpa 200 anakimbilia nipe 200 aende hospitali, anaenda kula mihadharati. Hili tatizo liko na linatuathiri sana. Na tukiliacha kuendelea zaidi itatuathiri zaidi. Asante. Sasa hii angalau mmeanza kusema huku, lakini cost ni zaidi. Lilikuwa ni janga la cost tu, sasa ile kwa limekuwa janga la Kenya nzima, cocaine. Asante. Na kwangu si cocaine peke yake. Kwangu kuna drugs zinatoka ni tembe. Zinaitwa karambela. Nimezungumza paka kwa security meeting, naambiwa zilete hizo karambela tuzione, hatuzijui. Lakini kisha wao wenyewe wameniambia wamezipata. Karambela inauzwa shilingi 20. Youth akikula hizo karambela anakuwa wild animal. Anaweza fanya chochote. Na ziko na hakuna kitu inachukuliwa. Na ziko Speaker, wewe mwenyewe ukitumana hapa mtu aenda kanunue pahali, utapelekwa paka hapa ndio anauza. Hakuna ambaye hajui nani anauza. Ni hawachukui tu majukumu. Asante.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. And I think cost, yes, suffers a disproportionately higher percentage of users, but cities like Nairobi are also suffering. And Mr. Speaker, as this request for statement goes to the committee, I'm hoping that the committee will apply itself on 2 very critical issues. One, on the role of NACADA. Mr. Speaker, NACADA in its current form and state cannot deal with the drug issue in this country. In fact, we might want to think as a parliament whether we want to make NACADA to be directly under the President's office or the Ministry of Interior, so that it gets the teeth that it needs to bite. Because the elements that are needed...
NACADA is under Ministry of Interior.
In agreement, Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
you didn't let me prosecute.
Yes.
It is not fully there because, Mr. Speaker, there are some functions of NACADA that have been taken up and put in county governments. And what is happening is that the revenue that counties are looking for is encouraging them to open as many bars as possible. And these bars, not only is alcohol being consumed there, but these bars are also the places where drugs are being trafficked through. So NACADA now ends up suffering the problem of not having resources to undertake the war against drugs, but the counties on the other side are also licensing too many bars, even close to schools, close to hospitals, residential areas, and so on. The second issue, Mr. Speaker, is that when the issue of drugs was brought to this parliament, you are a member of parliament, Mr. Speaker, and I do remember the former minister, Minister Saitoti, and the issues that were prosecuted in this house. Mr. Speaker, we will need as a nation to move this war of drugs from fighting users to following the chain. From the user, there is a peddler. From the peddler, there is a dealer. From the dealer, there is the baron. From the baron, there are international cartels. And these users would never get the drugs if these drugs never found their way into the territory of Kenya. So the problem is way higher up than this young man or woman that we're criminalizing as a user. The user is at the end of the chain. So as the committee is prosecuting this matter, let us also see what it is that we can do to upscale this fight from the level of the ground where we are criminalizing the user all the way to the peddler, to the dealer, to the baron, and see how then we can also arrest it using the international instruments that are available. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity.
Justice Kamei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to add my voice to this very, very pertinent subject. An issue that is threatening the generations of this country. Earlier on, Mr. Speaker, we used to think that it was a phenomenon of cities like Mombasa and Nairobi. The truth of the matter that right now is that this substance abuse has gone to rural areas like our constituencies. In my constituency, Mr. Speaker, there is something called Kutber. I don't know where it came from. Kuber. Something called Kuber. I don't know where it came from. That language does not even belong.
It's called?
Kuber.
Kuber.
Kuber. K-U-B-E-R. I don't know where it came from. You see a young man putting it in his mouth. The next thing is a pale shadow of himself. It is spreading in so many schools, institutions, Mr. Speaker, and it is threatening the generations of this country. Mr. Speaker, I want us as Parliament to apply ourselves fully to this issue and not to leave it to the Ministry of Interior alone and not leave it to NACADA alone. Mr. Speaker, I support. Thank you.
Yes, Ounda.
Honorable Speaker, thanks a lot for my colleague, Mheshimiwa Tindi Mwale, for bringing this matter. But I think it's being too elitist to only consider these imported and high-value drugs. Honorable Speaker, where we come from, we have the maintenance of bang, sativa, whatever it's called, bang. And Honorable Speaker,
It's called cannabis sativa.
Cannabis sativa. I'm most unfortunate because I border Uganda. And what happens, nowadays the growing is being done in Uganda, and Funyula constituency, particularly the border point at Bukwamba and part of Sigalame, is the entry point to Kenya. And Honorable Speaker, I will shock you beyond belief that actually the people who are growing bang in Uganda and transport and the peddling through across Kenya to come to Nairobi are actually the policemen. They are the policemen. And we have raised this issue continuously. I even raised it with the county commander.
Are you saying Kenyan policemen?
Yes, Kenyan policemen.
In Uganda?
Yes, they cross over to Uganda and grow bang and bring and they make sure they supervise the border point, because Sapora's border point, through Mulwanda, Sigalame, and Bukwamba, and actually transport it and escort it all the way, Honorable Speaker, to here Nairobi. You can see how deep rooted this menace is, how well it is supported and protected by the security forces. And that's why we want to ask the committee, and it's good has been directed to the Committee of Internal Security. They really need to rein on their police force and all security apparatus in this country. Yes, they make a lot of money from it, much more than they make from their salaries and allowances. But you cannot do that at the expense of the young people in this country. Honorable Speaker, if you go to most schools in Western Kenya, when you look at the boys and the girls, even the girls are becoming notorious. They look like zombies. We are even worried. We used to laugh that people from Mount Kenya region and central, their classrooms, kindergarten classrooms were empty. Probably the next few years to come, in Western Kenya, also the classrooms are going to be empty because the boys are not doing the work they are supposed to do. Women are complaining all over, Honorable Speaker. We ask you for your assistance to solve this menace so that we can continue to reproduce, because we need more numbers to take over our position as we grow old. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Katana.
Asante, Bwana Spika. Swala la mihadarati ni swala nyeti sana. Bwana Spika, zamani madawa ya kulevya yalikuwa yanapatikana mijini, lakini kufikia sasa yameingia mpaka mashinani, na wanaumia zaidi ni watoto wa shule. Bwana Spika, watoto wetu siku hizi wameanza kujiua kwa sababu wakikula madawa ya kulevya kufikiria kwao kunakuwa ni duni. Tujiulize swala moja, Bwana Spika. Kenya hatuna shamba la cocaine wala hatuna shamba la heroin. Haya madawa yote ya kulevya yanatoka nje. Ni wapi ambapo kuna ulegevu ambapo inaruhusu madawa haya kuingia katika nchini? Kama vile ndugu yangu amesema, kuna baadhi ya vitengo vya usalama ambao wanajua ni kina nani wanaleta mihadarati, wanajua ni kina nani wanauza mihadarati, lakini watu hawa hawawezi kushikwa kwa sababu wanalindwa na wanalipa baadhi ya polisi wetu ili waweze kuwalinda waendelee na biashara yao haramu. Ni wakati mwafaka, Bwana Spika, kama taifa sisi sote bila kulaumu mtu yote tujitolee kama Wakenya kusema kwamba swala la mihadarati ni lazima liharamishwe katika nchi yetu kwa sababu linahatarisha usalama wa kitaifa. Asante Bwana Spika kwa kunipatia nafasi.
Bwana Katana, tayari limeharamishwa. Is unlawful to be found with drugs.
Bwana Spika, ndio tunasema vitengo vya usalama vimelegea. Ni lazima, kwa sababu hatuna mashamba ya cocaine, hatuna mashamba ya heroin. Kule zinakotoka ni lazima waangalie kama zinakuja kwa njia ya meli ama kwa njia yoyote. Mipaka yetu lazima ilindwe, tuhakikishe kwamba hakuna mihadarati inaingia katika taifa letu. Asante Bwana Spika.
Benja will be the last.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the honorable member for bringing up this matter. Mr. Speaker, drugs are threatening to kill our whole generation, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as the committee looks at this matter, I want to propose to them that the committee should look at who are the actors, Mr. Speaker, where are the failures in terms of enforcement, Mr. Speaker. And number three, Mr. Speaker, much more important, is we might accuse NACADA for not performing, but we must also look at the law that establishes NACADA, whether we can propose amendments to that law to give it more powers, more teeth, Mr. Speaker, so that they can be able to act accordingly, Mr. Speaker. So I support the statement.
Chair Security, Owen Bayer.
Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Tongo is not here, and neither is the Vice Chair, Colonel is not here.
Inform them to bring a report, an answer in the next 2 weeks.
2 weeks, Honorable Speaker.
Member
much obliged.
from Taita Taveta. Member for Taita Taveta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Member for Mwatate, sorry.
It's Mwatate.
Mwatate, Bwana Mbogo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity you've given me to give my statement. My statement reads.
You should tender an apology to the House for coming late. This is the second time I'm calling you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, for coming late.
Yes.
I was tied up somewhere in the hospital. I'd gone to see a patient. Sorry for that.
Go ahead.
Request for statement regarding the rise of insecurity in Taita Taveta County. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the recent rise of insecurity in Taita Taveta, particularly in Voi and Mwatate constituencies. Honorable Speaker, the rise of insecurity in Taita Taveta County has negatively impacted not only the safety but the well-being of the residents, particularly in Voi and Mwatate constituencies. The constituencies have experienced a number of insecurity incidences in the last 5 months, with people being killed and borders stolen. For instance, in May 2024, Mr. Marian Charlie Chow of ID number 278-97833 was found dead at a satellite site around Rianchore hillside with multiple cut wounds. Additionally, a border rider, Mr. Dunningston Makio Mangombe of ID number 1382264, was found dead on 14th April 2024 in Voi Central Business District, and his border stolen. On May 28, 2024, Mr. Silas Silomengo Machongo, a border rider in Ronge Ward, was found dead in Voi constituency and his border stolen, while Mr. Julius Mafuga of ID number 299-51391 was allegedly beaten to death by a police officer from Mwatate Police Station in May 2024. Further, Mr. Sylvans Mwanjala Mvoi of ID number 370-23429 was attacked and severely injured on 2nd September 2024 within Sagala Ward in Taita Taveta County, and his border stolen. He was rushed to Moi County Referral Hospital for treatment and later referred to Kilimanjaro Christian Medical Center in Moshi, Tanzania, where he succumbed to the injuries. The matter was reported to Voi Police Station under OB number 63/03/09/2024. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. 1. Provide a report on the status of investigation into the incidences, including the death and attacks reported to Voi Police Station. 2. The action being taken to ensure the perpetrators of the crimes are arrested and prosecuted without delay. And 3. The measures being put in place to curb insecurity in the region. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, on Peter Mbogo, MP Mwatate constituency.
Thank you, Honorable Mbogo. Owen Baya, inform Tongoyo to bring a response in 2 weeks.
If you allow me to say something.
Yes.
This is the fourth statement, request of statement, on insecurity in Taita Taveta that I have had. I remember Danson Mwashako raised it, and I think another member also raised it. It doesn't seem to go away.
And I have heard them mention somebody I know from Rongeju. And Honorable Speaker, I think we need to look at a different, this just bringing of statements and stating facts the way they are without looking for a solution to the problem is making us act in vain. Probably, Honorable Speaker, you may need to give a direction that something be done, because a statement will be written, it will be brought here, it will be read, and no action is being done to ensure there is security in Taita Taveta. So, Honorable Speaker, even when we give these statements, some action needs to be done. And I don't know what direction you will give, but I have had my mother's relative having been killed there, and they will finish those people, and I'll have no uncles left. So, Honorable Speaker, I think we need a much more robust action on the ground, whether you need to order those people there to sit down and review the security there and give us a report. Otherwise, somebody will sit at the headquarters, write a report, and tell us, yes, it happened, this day happened, this thing happened, and that is what it is, as it is. And it does not help to solve the problem. We would like to have a solution there, and this Parliament can enforce the solution, Honorable Speaker.
The next minister to appear before the House is likely to be security, so be ready to confront him with the questions, including insecurity in Mwatate. In the meantime, the member is elected to come to the House to be answered by the committee, so the committee chair will bring a response in 2 weeks. But Mr. Mbogo, Honorable Mbogo, I'll give you an opportunity when the minister comes for you to prosecute that concern. Next, Gonzirai, member for Kinango.
Yes, sir. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the Provincial Standing Order 44 into brackets 2 into brackets C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations regarding the safety of Ms. Riziki Luvuno Mambo, holder of passport number AK 325501, who went missing in Saudi Arabia in March 2024. Honorable Speaker, Madam Riziki Luvuno Mambo has been residing in Saudi Arabia since July 2023, when she moved there for employment. However, her family, with whom she maintained regular communication, claims to have lost contact with her on the 12th of March 2024, raising concerns about her safety and whereabouts. Following her lack of communication, the family received reports on 23rd of April 2024 that they said that she had been arrested and was being held at Jeddah Sawara police station in Saudi Arabia. It is alleged that she was found in a state of distress, wandering the streets, and appeared to be suffering from mental health condition. Efforts by the family to secure her repatriation to Kenya have not been successful. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Affairs on the following. 1, the circumstances surrounding the arrest of Madam Riziki Luvuno Mambo by the Saudi Arabia police. 2, steps that the relevant government agencies have taken to ascertain her whereabouts and secure her expedition release from custody and deportation to Kenya for proper physical and mental care. And 3, the measures that the government has taken to guarantee the safety of all Kenyans living and working abroad to ensure that they receive timely government assistance in case of distress. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Rai. Chairman, Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I will get the response in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So that. Next order. Yes, Ondo.
Honorable Speaker, and I request Honorable Mbaya to ask the Chairman of Health to pay attention. Please, can we get the attention of the Chairman of Departmental Committee of Health?
Sir, Honorable Oundo is craving for your attention.
Honorable Speaker, yesterday afternoon, the chairman, I read a statement from the Minister of Health concerning the rollover from NHIF to this new animal called, I don't know, it's called sheaf or shia or whatever it is called. And Honorable Speaker, since yesterday, I being one of them, and I'm sure many of our colleagues here will bear me witness, we have been inundated by so many calls from our constituents who are generally stranded in hospitals. Because in many hospitals, be they private or public, many patients are being told that the NHIF card they have is not valid, is not acceptable at this particular moment. And that's why I want, with your indulgence, Honorable Speaker, the chairman, being the representative of the executive here, and me being a member of the government, to assure the Kenyans wherever they are, to give this assurance and give it to these members of parliament and all Kenyans wherever they are, that the transition from NHIF to SHIF is seamless. When if you just have the card for NHIF, you still receive the same services that you would have received under the new SHIF as we wait the transition process to be completed. Honorable Speaker, let me go on record. And let me go on record. Again, somebody distracting the attention of the chairman. It seems he's extremely on high demand. Honorable Speaker, let me go on record. As we were coming in this afternoon session, one of my constituents called me that they had earlier booked to go for a spinal injury operation at Kenyatta University Teaching Referral Hospital. At the point of discharge today, they were told that the card they have is not valid, cannot be used. Luckily enough, and Honorable Speaker, my God is always with me whenever I walk. I bumped into the chair, and he was magnanimous enough to pick his call the CEO of the hospital, and that's how we have been able to intervene and save the situation. I'm just wondering, how many Kenyans have got access to Dr. Pukose? How many Kenyans can the CEO of any of this referral hospital pick their calls and listen to them? So we want him to give Kenyans an assurance that whichever any kind of those kind of issues arise, it must be seamless and very clear that you simply have to confirm you are a full paid up NHIF contributor and you will be attended to and discharged as per the existing agreement. I hope, Honorable Speaker, this will save the trouble and the pressure many members of parliament are going through at this particular time. For you, Dr. Pukose, for what you have done today, may the Almighty God increase the number of noises in your homestead. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Dr. Pukose.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I want to thank Honorable Oundo for being magnanimous enough to accept that we have been able to intervene and his patient will now be going home after the spinal surgery that was done at Kenyatta University, and we were able to call Dr. Dagane, who is the CEO, Kenyatta University, and intervened. Honorable members, for record purposes, as we speak today, 12,600,833 as per today, Kenyans have been transitioned to Social Health Insurance Fund. Out of that, those who are in NHIF are 9,640,523, and those who are newly registered are 2,900,323. This is the current figures. And members, I can confirm that as you will find that messages are coming to your phone, where without you even having done anything, you are among those 9,600,000 that have been transitioned from NHIF to Social Health Insurance Fund through the system without you doing anything after they cleaned the system. The system initially had about 12 million Kenyans, but about 3 million people do not exist in the Kenya National Registration Bureau. So it is only after cleaning the fingerprints that everybody, when you have your key in your ID, you will find that now you don't need to take your fingerprints, because what the system they have now is that with your ID, they can access your fingerprints within the Kenya National Registration Bureau. I want to assure Kenyans outside there and the honorable members in this house that no Kenyan will be denied the services. I think the unfortunate information outside there is that it is the ministry is not doing enough, but I know they are trying their best. But we want the information to reach to every Kenyan that if you are a paid up member on the NHIF, you will automatically transition and your services will not be interrupted. So, and Honorable Unda is a witness, because when we called the CEO Kenyatta, he has personally gone to see the patient in that ward in bed 7. I think it was bed 7, bed 9 in the Jude ward. Yes, so he's personally gone to see the patient, and many of those within the hospitals, they should not worry about paid up members who are in the NHIF. They have now been transitioned, and the Social Health Insurance Fund is doing its best to send messages so that you get messages to know that you are up to date. And they have also created an emergency line, which is a toll line, which they can be able to respond to any questions when you have challenges. We know this is a teething problem, but the ministry is up to its position to make sure that no Kenyan is denied services wherever they go, and they are paid up members. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Majority Leader, your Thursday statement.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision Standing Order 44.2a, I rise to give the following statement on behalf of the House Business Committee, which met on Tuesday, 1st October 2024, to prioritize business for consideration during the week. Honorable Speaker, as you are aware, this morning the House resolved to suspend its sittings of Thursday, 3rd October 2024, so as to allow administrative arrangements necessary to facilitate the program for public participation on the special motion for the removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency, the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Consequently, the House will reconvene on Tuesday morning. Honorable Speaker, with regards to business scheduled for Tuesday next week, members will note that the House will convene from 9 a.m. to commence consideration of the special motion on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. In line with the procedural motion passed by the House, it is expected that during the afternoon sitting, the House will sit until conclusion of the debate on the special motion. Honorable Speaker, in view of the foregoing, I urge members to be present and actively participate in this vital constitutional process. Your insights and contributions are critical, and together, Honorable Speaker, we can ensure that our deliberations reflect the collective wisdom, values, and aspirations of our society. Members, let us come together not just as legislators, but as stewards of integrity and future of our motherland. A robust discussion will allow us to consider various perspectives, ensuring that our final decisions are well informed and representative of the views of our constituents. As representatives of the people, it is our solemn duty to engage in discussions that uphold justice, equality, and the democratic principles that define us. Notably, Honorable Speaker, this matter transcends party lines and speaks to our commitment to good governance, accountability, and fidelity to the Constitution and the rule of law. Indeed, as the Indian author and philanthropist Rohin Nilekani once said, we cannot be mere consumers of good governance. We must be participants and we must be co-creators of good governance. I end the quote. Honorable Speaker, having said that, in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 42A, 5 and 6, I wish to convey that the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration is scheduled to appear before the House on the afternoon of Wednesday, 9th October 2024, to respond to the following questions. And just like the Honorable Speaker told the member for Mwatate, this is the time that probably he needs to bring those questions. And that day, on the Wednesday, 9th October 2024, the first question by private notice will be question number 008 of 2024 by the member for Lugari, the Honorable Nabwera Nabi, MP, regarding circumstances that led to the death of two brothers, Mr. Bonventure Ounza of ID number 380630032 and Mr. Callistus Apuike of ID number 41444 by police based at Santo Police Station. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, is the question by private notice number 11 of 2024 by the member for Moyale, the Honorable Professor Jaldesa Guyo Wako, the gynecologist, regarding the status of the investigations into the shooting of Ms. Kabale Galgalo Guyo of ID number 39763161 around Kangemi Mosque in Nairobi County. The next question is question number 271 of 2023. This is a 2023 question, Honorable Speaker, by the member for Laisamis, the Honorable Joseph Locuton, MP, regarding staffing of births and registration offices in Laisamis and Loyangalani sub-counties. Question number 02 of 2024, Honorable Speaker, by the member for Matungu, the Honorable Oscar Peter Nabulindo, MP, regarding the surge in cases of livestock theft in the Western region and in particular Matungu constituency. Another question, number 3 of 2024, by the member for Kinango, the Honorable Gonzi Rai, who I saw around here, is regarding the deployment of the contingent of General Service Unit GSU to Kazamoyo village in Kwale County. Question number 5 of 2024 by the member for Bahati, the Honorable Irene Njoki MP, regarding the replacement of the vehicle with registration plate number GKB 340J assigned to Deputy County Commissioner for Nakuru North Sub-County. The other question, Honorable Speaker, is question number 37 of 2024 by the member for Isiolo South, the Honorable Tubi Budi, MP, regarding the special vetting of ID cards applications carried out by the Ministry for the residents from northeastern and other border regions of the country. The next question is question number 45 of 2024 by the member for Fafi, the Honorable Yakub Farah, MP, regarding actions taken by the government to enhance security in Fafi constituency. The next question, Honorable Speaker, is question number 48 of 2024 by the member for Emuhaya, the Honorable Omboko Milemba, MP, regarding the security of the non-local teachers in Mandera County and border northeastern regions. Again, on the cards, Honorable Speaker, is question number 050 of 2024 by the member for Kilome, the Honorable Thaddeus Zambia, MP, regarding the criteria for gazettement of the Nzai sublocation in Makueni constituency. Honorable Speaker, next is the question number 59, 2024, by the nominated member, Hon Irene Mayaka, MP, regarding statistics of fully operational gender desk equipment in police stations in the country to deal with gender-based violence in the country. Again, Honorable Speaker, there's a question number 123 of 2024 by the member for Yatta, the Honorable Robert Basil, MP, regarding the omission of Yatta Sub-County Administrative Unit from the Gazette number 1766 of 14 February 2024. I'm coming to the end, Honorable Speaker, and the second to last question is question number 124 of 2024 by the member for Kiambu, the Honorable Mashua Waithaka, MP, regarding delay in issuing national ID cards within Kiambu constituency. And lastly, Honorable Speaker and members, is question number 126 of 2024 by the member for Sigor, the Honorable Peter Lochakapong, MP, regarding the number and contractual details of the employees recruited by the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, UNHCR, to the Department of Refugees. Honorable Speaker, Tuesday is the day we reconvene. Honorable Speaker, we have a long agenda, a big agenda for that day, and as members depart for public participation, I wish them journey masses and good public participation. And therefore, in conclusion, Honorable Speaker, the House Business Committee will reconvene on Monday, 7th October 2024 to schedule business for the rest of that week. This is Monday, not Tuesday, Monday 7th, Honorable Speaker. So members of the House Business Committee be notified so that we'll schedule business for the rest of the week. I now wish to lay this statement on the table of the House today. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and good luck.
Thank you, Honorable Owen Bayer. Honorable members, we'll now go to questions. The Honorable Aden Bare Duale, Minister for Environment, or Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change, and Forestry, is already in the House. Welcome, Waziri. We'll now go to questions. In the interest of time, try to be as precise and concise as you can. Members, I'll only allow one joyrider on each question. No more than that. We'll start with the member for Alego Usonga, Honorable Samuel Atandi. You look surprised, Atandi?
No. I'm not surprised, Honorable Speaker.
Yeah.
I'm aware that the Cabinet Secretary for Environment is supposed to come to
He's
respond to my
already here.
question. Yes.
So go ahead and ask your question if you are ready, or we move to the next.
Honorable Speaker, let me get the question. In the meantime, you can go to the next question. I don't have the question ready.
Question 105 of 2024, member for Chepalungu.
Oh, thank you.
Victor Koech Mandazi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I have the question.
Mandazi, you are... go back to the bar and bow and come back.
Honorable Speaker, I'm ready.
Go ahead, Honorable Atandi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my question is number 304 of 2023.
Yes.
And the question is, one, could the Cabinet Secretary explain why the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, issued a license for the construction of residential properties along Odaya Road, Kileleshwa on LR number 33734/338, despite the potential environmental impact caused by the developer. Number two, state why NEMA permitted the construction of the said building to proceed without public participation. Number three, explain why the developer has been able to continue constructing the said illegal structures even after repeated requests and petitions from concerned residents? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, it's a privilege to come back to this house, which is my second home, a house that I have a lot of respect for and members that I have a lot of regard for. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Atandi asked a number of questions. In the interest of time, Speaker, I want to state that my ministry and agencies that are under me, like NEMA, are fully committed to upholding the Environmental Management and Coordination Act, Cap 387, and all its regulations as passed by this House, with the primary objective of ensuring environmental protection and sustainable development. Mr. Speaker, let me say it for record, that environmental protection for this generation and the future generation is found in the preamble of the Kenyan Constitution. So it's not even an article of the Constitution. There are many articles, but the preamble of our Constitution talks about protecting our environment for this generation and the future. Coming to the specific question, in the case of the proposed residential development, LR number 3734/338 on Odaya Road, Kileleshwa, allow me to note that the following why NEMA issued a license for the construction. The said developer, named Dettiland Company, sought to construct a 314-story building consisting of 224 residential units. Given the scale of this project, Mr. Speaker, it was classified as a high-risk undertaking as defined by Section 58(1) of MCA as passed by this House, and legal notice number 31 of 2019. As per the law, any high-risk project, Mr. Speaker, is required to undergo a thorough environmental impact assessment process to assess if there are any environmental impacts. An environmental impact assessment, Mr. Speaker, was conducted through a NEMA-registered EIA expert called Neolife Consultants Limited, and the report was submitted to NEMA for review and ultimate to give a license. The reference number of that environmental impact assessment, Mr. Speaker, is attached, and the member has. Same, Mr. Speaker, NEMA reviewed the report, found it adequately addressed all the potential environmental impacts, supported by a detailed environmental and social management plan. The Nairobi City County, Mr. Speaker, or the Nairobi City County government approved the same development plan, and then NEMA issued the environmental impact license number NEMA EAA PSL 8261 on 7th July 2020 with conditions of sustainable development and sound environmental management of the proposed project, which to date NEMA, under its obligation, does continuous monitoring. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, I wish to affirm the Ministry's dedication to safeguarding the environment while balancing the need for sustainable development that contributes to Kenya's economic growth, socio-economic growth. Our action remains aligned with both the national and international environmental standards. Honorable Speaker, the second question that the member have asked my good friend Honorable Atandi would state the reasons why NEMA permitted the construction of the said building to proceed without public participation. Honorable Speaker, on the onset, allow me to know that public participation is a critical and a principle in our Constitution. It is also very integral part of any environmental impact process, assessment process, as mandated by Section 59 and Section 60 of the Environmental Management and Coordination Act, and above all, Regulations 19 of the Environmental Impact Assessment and Environmental Assessment Regulation 2003, passed by this August House. For this project, I wish to confirm public participation, Mr. Speaker, was conducted as follows, and it's there in the documents that I've provided to the House and to the member. NEMA dispatched copies of the Environmental Impact Assessment Report to 9 lead agencies on the 4th of March 2019 for sectoral review and comments as required by Article 20 of the Environmental Impact Assessment Regulations. These entities include the Ministry of Environment ourselves, the County Physical Planning of Nairobi, the Water Resource Authority, Kenya Urban Authority, Roads Authority, National Land Commission, Public Health Office officials of Nairobi County, Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company, and finally Nairobi County Director of Environment. NEMA also, Mr. Speaker, had issued a proponent with a notice of publication on the 1st of March 2019 to invite the public to make oral or written comments on the Environmental Impact Assessment Study Report. It was captured in all the daily papers. In the Star on Wednesday, 13th March 2019, again on the Star on the 20th March 2019, on the Kenya Gazette Notice number 2531 of 15th March 2019, in nearly about 4 radios, 4 classified adverts per day. NEMA received again varied public comments as detailed in the attached. Consequently, a public consultation meeting was held on the proposed site on the 27th of June 2019 with the participation from 62 residents. The minutes of the public consultation, Mr. Speaker, are attached. And that's why this House is going on a recess tomorrow to do public participation. It is central to our Constitution. Nobody can avoid it. Neither can NEMA has the luxury to avoid it. A major concern raised by the residents was conformity to zoning policy of the area and the number of floors, connection to the sewer. All these were addressed, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me make it very clear as the new minister to this docket. Zoning, sewerage, all these are functions of the county government of Nairobi. And the Senate has a role to call the governor or his officials to the same. Speaker, in the view of that, I have just highlighted there was indeed meaningful public participation and information disclosure of the project. Question 3, Mr. Speaker, was why the developer has been able to continue constructing the said illegal structure even after repeated requests. Mr. Speaker, the construction has continued despite several petitions by some of the concerned residents. I am indeed aware that the residents have lodged petitions with NEMA and other government bodies. Residents were also advised to appeal for a tribunal independent evaluation on NEMA. Speaker, this House in its mandate in making laws and regulations has given the citizens recourse to appeal. If you are not happy with the NEMA decision, then you go to the NEMA Complaints Committee. If you are not happy, then you go to the independent environmental tribunal chaired by somebody of a standing of a judge of the High Court. And reputable institutions like Law Society of Kenya, Mr. Speaker, have their representation. So the members were advised to go there, and the Speaker, since there was no court order, nobody has gone to the tribunal, nobody has gone for an independent evaluation of the NEMA decision. NEMA and the other agencies continue to monitor with the compliance with the environmental impact assessment. Mr. Speaker, finally, I wish to reiterate the following. The Ministry through NEMA remains committed to ensuring all full compliance with the Environmental Management and Coordination Act and its regulations as passed by the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I think we're going to give one joyrider. Let me see. The Honorable Itonga Murugar, member for Tharaka Nithi. Oh, you're on the intervention button. The Honorable Zamzam. Oh no, she's pulled it out. Yes, I was going to allow you after one joyrider. Then you can respond, but we can go to you directly if there are no people. Proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me say that the response by the Cabinet Secretary appears satisfactory. And given that also is new, I don't want to put a lot of pressure on him. The only observation that I want to make based on his response is that it appears these matters will be dealt more by the county government of Nairobi County Government is one that should take a lot of blame on this matter, because the initial concern was that that area is zoned and the buildings that are coming up are beyond the guidelines of the particular zoning. So it means that the Nairobi County Government has allowed these structures to go up beyond the guidelines of the zoning. But what I wanted to ask the minister is that these buildings are coming up and issues like drainage, the sewerage systems of the area have not been improved or expanded. Don't you think that as the minister in charge of environment, this is something that should concern you, that structures are going up, even 20th floor, yet these structures are also important. So are they not going to affect the environmental aspects of the county? And going forward, things like flooding, you saw what happened during the recent flooding. One of the issues that was raised is that we are not respecting the environmental orders. So I wanted to ask you, the minister, because you are new, and this is something that I know you are capable of addressing, can you tell us how you are going to address these concerns? Because that's the biggest problem. The other issues, as you have explained, we are going to see how they can be addressed by the county government of Nairobi, because it appears that the county government of Nairobi is also supposed to ensure some of this compliance. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I think we can go to the next question. Honorable Luku, the time has gone up for that. You're a member for Chabalungu. You may go to your question, 105/2024.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. I would wish that the Cabinet Secretary before us today, I would like to read my question as follows. Could the Cabinet Secretary confirm the presence of Lalela Company Limited and Naraitoi Company Limited that are engaging in large-scale irrigation-based farming along Amalo River that is bordering Chepalungu constituency? Number two, confirm the allegation made by the residents of surrounding villages, including Chemengwa, Kinyanga, Kobalwa, Kosia, Kamosiro, Nogirwet, and Kamongil area that the said companies are engaging in cloud seeding activities, resulting in alterations to the local rainfall patterns, with some villages experiencing a complete lack of rain throughout the year, despite other areas of the constituency receiving rainfall. Number three, Speaker, state the steps that the ministry intends to take to address the concerns raised by the affected areas residents. Thank you, Speaker.
Cabinet Secretary, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Just to, if you allow me, Honorable Atandi has raised it. The Constitution and the people of Kenya in their wisdom, have allowed separation of powers between the two levels of government. Zoning, waste management, pollution, whether it's air, sound, is a function of counties. But I want to assure this House, now that I'm the Minister for Environment, we will not issue a license. We will be the ones. If we don't issue, nobody can build. And I want members to help us and help the country. People are building flats that the people who live in those flats, in those residential areas, have no access to light, they have no access to fresh air, and you can imagine, if you have young children, those children will not grow. I'm not a doctor. Dr. Pukose and the doctors who are sitting in this house and those who are listening will agree with me. But I have given NEMA strict instructions that is not going to be business as usual. On Honorable Koet, Madam Deputy Speaker, I want to confirm that there is the existence of these two companies, one in Narok West constituency, bordering Chapalungu constituency. And I also wish to confirm that these companies practice large-scale farming using irrigation. The second question, Madam Speaker, was to confirm the allegations made by the residents of those 5 or 6 villages that the said companies are engaged in something called cloud seeding. Madam Speaker, on the second question, if you allow me, let me, they're engaged in cloud seeding. Before I proceed, let me try to respond to this question and allow me briefly to explain to the House what cloud seeding is all about. Cloud seeding is where weather modification technique that changes the amount or the type of precipitation from the clouds in terms of rain. There has been research aimed at establishing whether this is viable, but all studies have shown that the input expenses are far more than the benefits. Madam Speaker, the ministry is not aware through our meteorological department that such entities are engaging in cloud seeding activities within the said locality. On the alteration of rain patterns in the area of interest, Madam Deputy Speaker, data available to us from the neighboring Longisa automatic station owned by Kenya Meteorological Department indicates that there has been an increase in the annual rainfall in that area totals as from 2018 to 2023, and I have attached the figure and the maps to this document, which I've shared with the members. Secondly, Madam Deputy Speaker, the member asked to allow me to highlight that what the ministry, through the Meteorological Department, has done. The Meteorological Department, the Kenya Meteorological Department, has recently installed automatic weather stations in Chapalungu constituency and all its environments. However, specific variability in the specific locations could not be established due to lack of data. Our ministry and our department will continue monitoring the data for analysis to draw adequate information, and I want to assure you, once we make a policy formulation, we will forward to address this issue, and we will not allow our communities to be aggrieved. Madam Speaker, the third question was the steps the ministry intends to take to address the concern raised by the affected residents. Honorable Madam Speaker, on the last question, allow me from the onset to commit and to state our commitment towards protecting the interests of our local communities. To this end, in addressing the concerns of the affected residents, I commit to do a follow-up with the Ministry of Water and its agency, the Water Resource Authority, to ascertain the abstraction of water from both River Amalo and River Nyangores, as mentioned, and we will report back to this House in very, very due course within 2 weeks. Further, going forward, we hope that by the enactment of the meteorological bill, which is before the House, the Meteorological Department will have the powers to regulate weather-related activities in the country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Before I allow one interjection and then the owner of the question to confirm whether he's satisfied with the answer by the Cabinet Secretary, allow me first to welcome very special guests who are seated in the Speaker's Gallery from Kisii County. Mr. Moega Onchweri, Mrs. Moega, Wakili Wycliffe Moega, and for Claire Ombati. And I think I'll allow the Honorable Osoro, Sylvanus Osoro, to welcome them on behalf of the National Assembly. He will explain.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I had to make this very, very special request, which is again unprecedented in this House, to welcome very, very special guests to me, because Mr. Moenga Onchweri picked me from the streets and took me to school upon the demise of my parents. This is a very special guest to me. It's a very emotional thing to me, because when he actually came where somebody had given me a small casual job of welding after I had dropped out of school, he picked me and decided to take me to school, back to school, educated me until I finished. And ironically, one thing that is very special, Honorable Speaker, is that this is the first time that Mr. Moenga is stepping his feet in Parliament at 78 years old. And when I made a request to this House, Honorable Speaker, and to the leadership of this House, they agreed to have them sit there so that they see what we do in this House and to see their product. But again, on the flip side, Honorable Speaker, I got surprised today when I welcomed Mr. Moenga that he also knows the Honorable Member for Kisii County, the Honorable Doris Donya Aburi. He also educated Honorable Donya Aburi, because they actually happen to come they happen to come also from the same village. So he's a very, very special person. His dream to become a member of Parliament years back did not materialize for Nyaribari Chache constituency, but I've just told him that by me being member of Parliament, and Honorable Aburi, member of Parliament, is actually a double victory. So, and that is why I made this very special request. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, thank you. Yes, the Honorable Donya Deris will give you 3 minutes.
Madam Speaker, the beauty of Samaritans. I'm always talkative, but when I look at them, today I'm very humble. I've eaten a lot of vegetables, because parents and Samaritans are the best thing that God can give. You can even attest, Honorable Soro, you can think he was reading the Bible. He's also come because the parents are there. See what the parents, Madam Speaker, have done to us. Today we can't even Gachagua anybody. We are just good. We are very obedient. And please, honorable members, M-Pesa your parents. Please, parents believe girls are the one who give them food, who send them M-Pesa, unlike the boys. Now we change it, honorable members, the male. Please, those who are here today, send your mom some M-Pesa and make it 10,000 and above. Even CS, Honorable Dwali, I will come for 100,000 from you. I send to my mother. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay, now thank you for the digression. I think we can proceed. I'll give one honorable member to add their question. Honorable Zamzam, member for Mombasa, and then we will go back to the member for Chepalungu to confirm if you're satisfied with the answer.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi niweze kumshukuru mzee kwa kuweza, mzee Mwenga, kwa kuweza kulea hawa vijana wawili. Leo ni wabunge ambao sisi tunawacelebrate hapa ndani ya hili bunge. na mimi imenikumbusha sana mzee marehemu Yusuf Haji, na yeye pia aliweza kunisomesha, na ndio maana mnaona jambo lolote likija hapa la Nurdin Haji, yule ni ndugu yangu, lazima nitampigia. Naona tuarudi kwenye jamii na tuwazidisha upendo kwa wale ambao hawawezi kujimudu katika masomo, na sisi pia tuweze kumiwa Spika. Nafikiri vile nimepata fursa kabisa nimuulize waziri wa mazingara, na niweze kwanza kumpongeza kuja katika bunge. Asante sana bwana waziri, tunakushukuru sana. Mimi nilikuwa nataka kuuliza, umesema kuwa kuna haya mambo ya mazingara ya sewage na nini ni mambo ya county, lakini hata tukiangalia Mombasa County, mheshimiwa waziri, ukiangalia pale Chuda, maji taka sewage inaingia ndani ya bahari na imekaa miaka mingi sana. Wale watoto ambao wanakaa kule katika sehemu zile za slums wanaenda wakiogelea kule. Mheshimiwa Spika, ni kwa sababu watu wamejenga majumba bila kuangalia njia zao za sewage zitakwenda vipi, zote wamezielekeza kwenye bahari. Mheshimiwa waziri, kwa hiyo mimi nakuomba kama unaweza kulifuatilia. Umesema ni akaunti, lakini mimi nakusihi, maana yake wakati mwingine barua ikitoka kwa waziri, pengine jambo laweza likafuatiliwa likafanywa kwa wepesi. Mheshimiwa waziri, kisha nauliza Mheshimiwa waziri, unapanda miti ya matunda. Mimi kama mama Mombasa County nimezunguka nikaangalia, miti ya nazi imekuwa chache sana ndani ya pwani, na kuomba kama mama Mombasa utuletee miche ya nazi ili tuweze kupanda kama matunda, na miche ya maembe iwe ni chakula na pia itaweza kuleta mvua. Asante sana Mheshimiwa waziri.
Before I allow the Cabinet Secretary to respond to her brief question, let me allow the member for Chapalungu. I think, Honorable Mugambi, I think the Speaker already ruled on this, that it will be one rider question and then back to the owner of the question.
It's okay. Thank you, Speaker. While I appreciate the response from the CS, I would like to make him aware that it's also nice for him and his team to visit these particular villages that I talked about, because I'm the member of parliament and I know what happens. In a particular situation, I was attending a funeral in a village called Kabalwa. It was raining at Sigor town, but upon reaching Kapalwa, it was dry, or it was dust everywhere. And one MC by the name Henry from Kabalwa village really challenged me that whenever there is rainfall, whenever they see signs of rain from these particular villages that I mentioned in this particular question, the person who does irrigation or farming from the neighboring village, these particular companies, he told me in black and white that he normally comes out, shoots the cloud. Those who are his local words. He simply told me that he normally comes out, shoots the cloud, and the next moment there is no rain in these particular villages. That's why, as a member, I took it upon myself to raise the question on their behalf. And equally, it is worrying to the effect that this particular data that you gave out, that these particular villages have seen an improvement in rainfall, it is totally wrong. I want to say this particular data is wrong as far as I am concerned, because I know these particular villages. The only time that these villages have received rainfall is when the entire country is receiving heavy rainfall. That is almost 1 year ago. But in normal situations where we see patterns of rain, these particular villages that I've mentioned here don't receive any volume or any rainfall at all. So while I appreciate you, I really want to encourage the ministry that you lead now to go back to these villages, get real information, and come back with proper data that will guide what you will do as a ministry, so that we see these particular villages benefiting from the rainfall, because it's dry. It's really dry when there is no heavy rainfall from the country. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Cabinet Secretary, do you have a rejoinder?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the member for Chapalungu, Chapalungu is a very great constituency led by a great man, called Isaac Ruto, who I have a lot of respect for. I want to assure you, after I leave here, please give me your number when you are ready. The Kenya Meteorological Director General and all our researchers will go with you, visit with you all the villages. We work for the people of Kenya, and they will come back to us. So you tell me when you are ready, because I want you to be there. So that, secondly, to my sister, Zamzam, Honorable Zamzam, I agree with you. I'll talk about this matter in a later question that Honorable TJ Kajuan has raised. How sewer in our counties are dysfunctional, how there's poor management of the sewer manholes, how there's illegal dumping on our water bodies, the seas, the rivers. So I think when I reach that question, Madam Speaker, I think I'll give a more comprehensive statement on the position countrywide. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Honorable members, let's move to our third question, number 106 of 2024, by the Honorable Timothy Wanyonyi, member for Westlands.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I want to congratulate the Minister for his new assignment in the Ministry of Environment, because the Minister of Environment, Madam Speaker, all over the world is now the in thing. Everybody is talking about climate change. Everybody is looking at how we can rescue our planet. And I'm sure Honorable Duale is up to the task. And we know he has passion for anything he does. So, Madam Speaker, allow me to ask my question. Question number 106 of 2024 to the Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change, and Forestry. Could the Cabinet Secretary explain the reasons behind the depletion of rivers, including the number of permanent rivers that have dried up in the country over the past 4 years, and the plans by the ministry to address and mitigate the situations? Question 2, enumerate the entities and groups that discharge their affluent in the rivers, along with the number of private dams constructed in the last 2 years, and the statement outlining the penalties imposed on such entities for negative environmental actions. Number 3, disclose allowing the cultivation and reforested areas for such action and the acreage likely to be affected by the forest, per forest. Question 4, outline the measures put in place to reclaim, safeguard, and vulnerable ecosystems within the country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Cabinet Secretary, you may proceed.
Honorable Madam Speaker, before Honorable Zamzam walks out, there's a question that she asked, I have forgotten, on the coconut trees. I want to confirm that I am here with the CEO of Kefri. Kefri and Carlo have developed a hybrid that is shorter and faster growing coconut trees. They are available in Mutwapa, they are available in Gede, in Kilifi, and we are ready. And also, Madam Deputy Speaker, the 15 billion tree growing initiative of President William Ruto in his strategy to restore our ecosystem, 30% of those seedlings are fruit trees. And I really want to ask members of parliament to help that strategy, take charge of the 30%, give to our rural women in our constituencies, our villages, and that will even first restore our ecosystem, our forest cover, and then help reduce poverty. Madam Speaker, coming back to the question by Honorable Tim Wanyonyi, a man I have respect for and has represented the people with disability in this house for a number of parliaments, is that it was the issue of river depletion is a critical concern that is on this government's agenda. Under the leadership of His Excellency the President, the government has made a concerted effort to address the causes, recognizing their far-reaching impacts on water resources, on the livelihoods of our people, and the future of our nation. Allow me to elaborate the main causes of this challenge, highlighting very few because the document I've provided to Honorable Wanyonyi and to the Office of the Clerk. One of it is deforestation and degradation of water catchment areas in very critical water catchment areas like the Mao Forest Complex, the Aberdare Ranges, Mount Kenya Forest, and all this has led to a significant reduction in the ability of these forests to regulate our river flow. For instance, rivers such as the Mara, the Sondu, and Njoro, which originate from the Mao Forest, have experienced decreased water levels due to deforestation, which I will again later address in another subsequent question. Two, the other thing that has affected our rivers is prolonged drought and erratic rainfall patterns due to climate change. Climate change is the current currency in the world. It is there, we must face it. You have seen the floods in Nairobi, you have seen the drought, you have seen the landslides. Climate change is a reality. And this has reduced river recharge and flow. Rivers like Athi River, Wasonyiro North River, which support a very critical ecosystem, support our communities, pastoralists, for water, their livestock, and for people, are among those which have been affected by this erratic and prolonged drought. And these changes have significantly led to significant reduction in water availability across the country. There is a third one is of over-abstraction and unsustainable water use for agriculture, for domestic use, and for industrial use is another big challenge. I want to give the example of Wasonyiro River, which flows through the arid and semi-arid areas. It has seen its water levels drop drastically due to excessive irrigation in the upstream areas. Similarly, Athi River is heavily tapped for irrigation and industrial use, contributing to what the member is saying, reduced flow downstream. Encroachment and human activity within our riparian areas is another factor that reduces the flow of our rivers. This has contributed to the degradation of the river ecosystem. The construction, agriculture, and urban development along the rivers like Nairobi River and Athi River have not only reduced their flow, but have also increased the pollution level. Madam Speaker, there is no Nairobi River. What we have in Nairobi River is sewage, is raw sewage, is polluted. And I want to assure you, speaking on behalf of President William Ruto, Nairobi River and all other urban rivers will not be the same again. The same river of London, Madam Speaker, at one time was a sludge. I am ready as a minister to take the price. The president has given me all the powers. And I want the leadership of Nairobi County to work with us. We started yesterday with the climate works. We will change Nairobi River. It will become blue, and the people around Nairobi River and all of us will walk there. Pollution is another issue that's affecting our rivers. Pollution from industrial, from agriculture, from domestic sources, all these have degraded our rivers. The Nairobi River is a perfect example of high pollution due to untreated industrial waste. sewage, and plastic pollution, further straining its ability to sustain constant flow of water, Mr. Speaker. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, poor agricultural practices, such as monocropping and overgrazing, have led to soil erosion and siltation in many of the rivers. The Tana River, for example, the Kenyan largest river, is affected by siltation caused by deforestation and land degradation in its upper catchment. This reduces the river's capacity to hold water, leading to flooding during heavy rains. Go to Garissa County, go to Tana River, go to Lamu. As the river is entering the sea, the kind of siltation that you'll find on Sabaki Bridge. Honorable Speaker, allow me now also to highlight what mitigation measures is the ministry putting. One, we want to restore our water towers at the onset. The ministry is implementing the ambitious 15 billion tree growing presidential initiative to restore all our degraded ecosystem, including the water catchment areas, including the Mau Forest Complex, Mount Kenya Forest, Mount Elgon, Charangani, Aberdares. Restoration and forest protection will enhance water infiltration and will reduce service runoff, thus contributing to river restoration, in which Honorable team has asked. Mr. Speaker, to address climate change, the ministry has developed the third National Climate Change Action Plan 3, which was launched during the inaugural First African Climate Summit held in Nairobi in September 2023 by President William Ruto. And he today is the chair of African Climate Heads of State and Government. That coordinating of that national plan into a sectoral sectors, plans into many ministries and counties for implementation. For example, the Ministry of Agriculture is implementing what we call climate smart agriculture and other adaptation strategies to enhance water conservation. Mr. Speaker, finally, the ministry, through the National Environmental Management Authority, NEMA, we have enforced the protection of the riparian zones by removing illegal structures and settlements. This effort is very critical in ensuring that the rivers have adequate space to flow and recharge naturally. For example, the riparian cleanup and protection campaign along Nairobi rivers are ongoing, and it has started yesterday with the 10,000 young people under the Climate Works program that is initiated by our government. In another month, we'll add about another 10,000. Nairobi will have 20,000. Then we go to the other 5 cities, and by December, 139,000 young people in all our 47 counties and constituencies will be engaged. It's not a choice. Climate change is real, and we must have clear policies for climate mitigation and adaptation as a country. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Tim Wanyonyi also sought our indulgence to enumerate the entities that discharge effluent in the rivers and the policy statement outlining. Mr. Speaker, when I went to that ministry, what I saw, I can't believe it. The people who pollute Nairobi rivers is not the informal settlements. The people who produce garbage are not in the informal settlements. They are found in the middle class. Me and you. Me and the member sitting here. The people who live in the informal settlements, what they cook is so little that they finish. The people who have a lot of garbage at their homes is the middle class in Kenya. So the informal settlement pollution percentage is less than 1%. So who pollutes the Nairobi River? NEMA has mapped out over 101 industries, factories, apartments, slaughterhouses that discharge their effluent to Nairobi rivers. And the Speaker, I want to confirm, NEMA Director General is sitting here. He has no choice. He must comply with the law and the regulation passed by this House. He has already given them what is called restoration order. And on Monday, I'm meeting Kenya Private Sector Alliance, I'm meeting Kenya Association of Manufacturers, and I will tell them, if you are discharging effluent to Nairobi River, you either close and pack, or you find how you deal with that effluent in accordance with the MCA Act passed by this House. Mr. Speaker, NEMA, as I said, out of the 145 facilities and factories and slaughterhouses and apartments mapped out, 101 facilities have been listed by NEMA as having compliance issues as attached list, and that you'll find in Annex 1. NEMA has also issued restoration order to all the non-compliant facilities to ensure that they set up effluent treatment plants and they treat their waste water to meet the national standards under the Environmental Management and Coordination Water Quality Regulations 2006, passed by this House before discharge. The last question, Mr. Speaker, of reforestation and management. Under this, but non-commercial cultivation. We have got forest cultivation practice, poor practices, which sometimes can lead to soil degradation practices, which sometimes can lead to soil degradation, loss of biodiversity, and ecosystem disruption. Mr. Speaker, the other long issue that